back to the last time you hired someone, what was that conversation like? I want you to actually think back about the environment. Where were you? Were you in your office? Were you on the phone? Were you at a restaurant? Were you in a boardroom? I want you to think about the other person. What were they wearing? What were you wearing? Was there water on the table? Was there a TV in the room? Was there excitement in the air? Were you wearing a suit? Was it more casual? What was your last hiring experience like? Now, the reason I'm asking you to think about that is because I bet you don't. I bet you treat a hiring conversation like any other interview. But the hiring conversation is a very, very, very different conversation than all other interviews. In fact, it's what we call here at Southwestern Consulting the selection conversation. Here's the challenge that I see with companies and leaders and managers and C-level execs. Here's the challenge I see with them all the time, is they treat the hiring conversation like you just won a prize. Like, we've selected you, welcome aboard, do you want the job? It's like you've gone through all these hoops, you've already gone through the last hoop, now I need you to tell us, do you want it? It's like, well, you're putting all the power in their hands. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is people need to work for you. If you want to hire anyone who's willing to take the job, then why wouldn't they just take the next job when it's a little bit better? What about when things get tough? Is it going to be easier to leave because it was so easy to get the job? You need to make people work to get to work for you. So the selection conversation isn't about did they cross all their T's, did they dot their I's, did they meet all our checklists, and if they did, well, let's bring them in and offer them a job and see if they want it. The selection conversation is, through the last few conversations, we realized that there seems to be a really good mutual fit here. But before we decide if this is a fit for you, there's a few other things that we want to talk about. Now, I'm going to quickly, in the next 5 minutes or so, go through what are those few things that you should talk about. Because the selection conversation needs to be just that. It's a selection. You didn't jump through all these hoops and now it's pass go, let's take it home. No. It's pass go, now you get to be here in this seat and we're going to decide together if this is a fit for you. I'm not going to offer you a job and let you go home and think about it. I'm going to offer you a job and you're going to know if you can do these things. And the way I'm going to know if you can do these things is because I'm going to ask each one of them to you one by one. And as you answer them one by one, we are building momentum in a positive direction or in a direction that's going to send you on your way, and best wishes. So in that selection conversation, there are 3 things that we as leaders need to know in order to hire this person. Whatever got them to where they are right now in front of you being offered a job, these are 3 things that we need to know and that they need to commit to before they get that job. Here are those 3 things. First question, are you willing to work hard? I need to know before I offer you a job today, are you willing to work hard? And in the event that they say yes, which is a good sign, you need more specifics. Tell me, what do you think it's going to look like to work hard based on what you know about us thus far? You're not looking just for a yes, you're looking for specifics. You're looking for details. So when you ask them, are you willing to work hard, you need to know what that means. And you as the manager, the leader, you better be taking notes because whatever's coming out of their mouth needs to be going in writing so that when you come back to difficult situations later, that you have context and you have real information that they said to refer back to. Because don't be confused, things will get tough. They get tough for any position in any company. Things get hard. So first, are you willing to work hard? Now, once they've agreed to that and you feel satisfied with their answer, you move on to question 2. Are you willing to study hard? Now, ideally, they're going to say yes to that too, but that is not enough. You need to know what that looks like. Why? Why are you going to be willing to study hard? When are you going to study hard? What if you don't want to study? Are you willing to study hard? And what does that look like? Walk me through that. What do you think the first 30 days would look like studying in this job? When would you do it? How would you do it? Who would you do it with? What if you didn't feel like doing it? What if you got too busy to do it? Tell me what that looks like. So are you willing to work hard? Are you willing to study hard? And if you're satisfied with both of those, then it's the third question. And this is the last thing that I need to know before I offer you a position. Are you willing to be coachable? Now, most people will say yes to that. And if you have hired anyone in your life, you know that yes doesn't always mean yes 6 months later. Being coachable also means being vulnerable. And being vulnerable means that there's a trusting relationship there. So when you ask the question, are you willing to be coachable, you need to know what that looks like. You need to know how to coach them. And they probably need to know what that looks like from you. I was doing a recent selection conversation with someone not too long ago, and I asked them the question, are you willing to be coachable? And they said yes. And I said, well, tell me what that looks like. How would you like to be coached in a coaching relationship? And they went through a lot of different examples of what works for them, what doesn't. And then I said, well, if I'm going to be your manager, your leader, you should probably know what being coachable looks like to me. And I went through my description, and at the end they started laughing and they said, do you think we're a good fit for each other? And it was one of those conversations where we both started laughing and we said, you know, maybe, maybe not. But it is important to know before we start this relationship as leader and as new sales rep that you know what I'm like and I know what you're like. I need to know how to coach you and you need to know how I coach, because this is a partnership. And if I'm going to invest my time and my resources and my money into you, this is going to work. And it's going to work because you and I are going to decide it's going to work right now. We're not going to take this job and in 90 days decide it's not going to work. We're going to decide right now that we're in. We're 2 feet in. I'm not going to do this and test it out. No, I'm in. I'm in for good. So, are you willing to study hard? Are you willing to work hard? And are you willing to be coachable? And we're going to talk about what that looks like. And if they say yes and you feel satisfied with those 3 things, then you offer them the position. Not before, not during, but once you have those commitments and examples and specifics, then you are free to offer them the job.